What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of ages? If I sound a little different, that's because I'm standing up here to record this audio. So, I just got done playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I originally had a planned review to before I finished the game tonight up, but I was like, for some reason, after I was done recording for the video, I was like, I'm really motivated to play through this game all of a sudden. And then I realized I was like in the last act of the game, so I was like, might as well just push it out of the way, reset the whole review, so I could just talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for my complete thoughts. And let me tell you guys something. This is better than Final Fantasy 16. But I don't think that's saying much, because I honestly think Final Fantasy 16 was such a fucking low bar for the franchise to cross. Any game could have crossed it. I think even freaking Stranger Origins could have fucking crossed that line as long as it had a better, composed story than, 16. I think even to a certain degree, Final Fantasy 15 has a better story than 16. Yeah, come at me, fanboys. But yeah, that's my honest thoughts on 16. So Rebirth had a lot to live up to because this really is the meat of the Final Fantasy VII story from what I understand. This is where we get a lot of backstory. We get a lot of, more details about the world and Sephiroth's grand plan. So, yeah, we kind of get that. But we get a little bit more because I'm going to go into some spoilers here. Sephiroth doesn't just want to destroy the planet. No. He wants to destroy every conceivable version of that planet. That's right, folks. We get into a multiverse story. And this right here was like the biggest fucking red flag for me. Because I just like, oh, fuck no. Anytime I have seen a media project try to handle a multiverse story, it normally ends in fucking disaster. Not always. You got Spider-Man across the Spider-Verse and into the Spider-Verse doing a good job. But man, oh man. You really want to talk about the MCU and how they've been handling that? Because it's not been good. But, yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is a multiverse story. Sort of, but not really. Because it is still a remake, retelling of the original story, just with different little details. For one, Cid's entire backstory, they just completely take out of the game. Vincent, he's still there. I don't know what the fuck he is. Is he a vampire? Is he a ex-Shinra employee? Or is he ex-Shinra employee who's a vampire? Maybe. But, like, the way they dress him, I was like, dude, this dude has to be a vampire. I Googled it. No, he ain't no vampire. He's just going through a really bad emo phase. So, honestly, I think as far as this core story goes, nothing's been changed. Until they got to that last act. And then we just started getting, oh boy, well, how do I feel about that last act? Well, Jimmy, let me tell you a story about how the fact I have never played Final Fantasy VII, and I feel like this was a little too much. You ever watch an episode of Hell's Kitchen, and you wonder like how many people could be in that kitchen and somehow all be coordinated? There's 2 people on each station. I feel like that's kind of this last act here. There's just one person who doesn't need to be here. And they need to get that person out of the kitchen and go somewhere else. Go work on the Final Fantasy game or Forspoken 2. I don't know. But just get them out of there. Because once they started getting to the multiverse stuff and explaining white materia and black materia and all that stuff, I was like, okay, this story's a little busy. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I can see that being a problem for some people because it isn't a one-for-one retelling of the original story. People really like those retellings of the original story. But here, I feel like they're trying to do a little bit more of it, adding characters like Zack into the story, who was barely in the original story from what I heard. So it's interesting how they try to make Zack like this big multiverse character, but it's like, yeah, cool. He's just kind of there. That's kind of the problem. They don't really use Zack unless they want to confuse the hell out of you, which I ain't gonna lie, they did that. So story-wise, it's solid, it works, it's fun, it's a good story. Like I said, the backstory and all that stuff, that works fine. That's what kept me interested. And of course, exploring the open world. That's where we kind of get into the gameplay. The open world element of this game, the best way I could summarize it as, you've done this before, but it's a little bit better. So there will be these things they call open world activities or open world intel. Basically, it's the stuff you expect to do. It's, climbing a tower to reveal more missions on the map, doing, killing certain monsters with certain specific requirements, collecting treasure, collecting these, little mini game proto relics that lead to a bigger boss fight and all that stuff. Like, I think that stuff is fine, but the problem is, I've done it before. But where I think a good highlight of the game is the side quests. Some of these side quests are actually really fun, and some of those proto relic quests are fun. Then, of course, you got Queen's Blood. I can't be the only one who is seriously standing here thinking, I want a Queen's Blood mini game itself. Like, not just a mini game, but like a game. Like, you remember what they did for Gwent, for The Witcher? They made a Gwent, solo game. I want that for Queen's Blood because, man, it is fun. It's like probably one of the most fun mini games I've had in a long time. I'm a sucker for card games, so maybe that's why I like this so much. And that's why I love watching DSP suffer through it, because he just could not handle the specific requirements. So, yeah, the mini games, all that stuff, they're fun, they're cool, they're enjoyable. And then we get into the graphics, soundtrack and all that. All that is great. All that is great. And I'm going to say this right now. I'm not going to sit here and gush about the graphics. Like, ooh, it's so pretty. It's so pretty. But, like, the game does look really good. And it ran at a very consistent frame rate for me, which, at least from what I could tell, was, 60 FPS. And mind you, I was doing everything. So there was only like a few times I think I saw frames drop. And yeah, that's really the only biggest gripe I can say about, like, gameplay and graphics and all that stuff. It's like, the gameplay is fine, it works, it's fun, but you've kind of done this stuff before, especially all the open world stuff. But the mini games kind of help it. The graphics are nice, they look good. They don't look anything above what we've already seen with the PS5 version of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I think that's fine. I think that's a good benchmark for this series. And it ran a consistent frame rate. Soundtrack, awesome. Characters, awesome. Story, a little messy at times, because I feel like they're starting to do the Kingdom Hearts thing where they're having like other games. I've heard like there was this one character in the story that is actually from another Final Fantasy VII game called Final Fantasy VII Before Crisis or something like that. And this character was like a key part in the story. But it's like, I didn't know that because literally I could not have cared. So that's one of my other concerns. It's like maybe they're trying a little bit too hard to make this a franchise, and they're trying to all make it like connect with each other. It just needs to be a simple retelling of the original story, maybe with extra details. Like I said, removing some things like Cid's backstory could have been, Achilles' heel, for a lot of people. But at the same time, Cid's not an active party member, not like Vincent. They're not active party members, which was also kind of weird because like once they get in the story, you legit kind of forget Cid and Vincent are there unless they're on screen. Because Vincent's not part of your party, which is so weird because you would think of all the characters you would want on your party is the dude who transforms into a giant monster. Or the guy who looks like he smokes 20 packs a day and is supposed to be like 20 years old and it looks like he's fucking 50 years old. I don't know why I would play as that guy. But maybe in the next game they could actually have those characters be playable. I'd be on board for that. I'd be like, hell yeah, I want to play as Vincent. Vincent, be party leader. Because Cloud, yeah. Overall, I think this game is solid. I think it's a fun time. And I think it has a good story to tell. Like I said, it's just a little busy. Like I said, if that's my biggest concern is that the game's story is a little too busy for my liking. Honestly, you're doing a pretty good job. I honestly gotta say, man, if I have to give this game a score, if it wasn't for the fact, like I said, I keep saying, because I keep repeating this, if the story wasn't so busy, I'd probably give this a 10 out of 10, but because of that, I have to give it a 9 out of 10. And like I said, there was also, like some of the open world stuff, it's formulaic as hell. I'm just tired of game developers using the same ass formula for open world games. Just either fucking make the game unique in its open world setting or don't fucking make it open world at all. That's my take on that whole situation. So What do you guys think of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? What do you think of me standing up, telling, freaking recording this video? Because I probably sound winded as hell, but I kind of have a little bit too much energy to be sitting down and kind of jumping up and down right now. Let me know what you guys think of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. What score would you give this game? Would you give it a 0 out of 10? Would you give it a 10 out of 10? Would you give it a 4 out of 10? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? Who do we appreciate? But until next time, peace out. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that YouTube algorithm BS. I can't even say anything right because my words are stuttering so much. Bye.